All right, so hi, how are you doing today?
Good.
All right. So how did we just meet right now? How did our paths just cross?
I was playing tennis on this court, and you came by and say hi.
Absolutely. And so what did I approach you about? What are we doing today?
We're talking about thoughts on
3 topics.
mental health,
reflexology,
and what?
feet. Your thoughts about feet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this. When you first hear the word feet, what do you think about?
Physical fitness.
Physical fitness, that's what you think about? We're saying feet. Feet, as in like your feet. What do you think about when you hear the word feet?
Okay. I can't think of anything else.
You don't think about anything besides physical fitness?
Maybe like sexual wise? Like,
Sexual wise?
Like people.
Okay, so today we're going to ask you some questions about that. You just feel free to answer however you like, okay? What about mental health? Any topics that come to mind, anything like that when you hear that?
Yeah, of course. Like since COVID happened, I feel like a lot of people are having issues, like mental health issues that they didn't pay attention to before. I think a lot of people underestimated the importance of mental health.
Very true.
My thoughts, I don't know. I just feel like we definitely need people around us to support us. It's like became very obvious when quarantine happened, when you're isolated in an environment, and then this online like BetterHelp stuff happened. Like, yeah, we definitely need to interact with other people more often.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, right? Like what you're saying in terms of like being able to understand that like you're down here with so many different people, different cultures, things like that. But like being able to like communicate and like work with others is like a huge part of life, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so we're gonna ask you some questions today about your thoughts about like social media, the impacts it can have on like depression and anxiety. So feel free to answer however you like, okay? And then what about reflexology? Have you ever heard that before? Nope? Okay, I bet you have. You probably just don't recognize the term, but...
Is it like how fast you react to
no,
things?
well, okay, so I'm gonna give you some information, and you can feel free to answer however you like, okay?
Okay.
All right, cool. So let's start with the first question. What are your thoughts about how the world is starting to become more aware of mental health and like what we're starting to do about it? How do you feel about that?
I don't feel like the world is doing anything about it.
Okay.
Like we have so many things to worry about, like economically, and like we are in a financial crisis kind of, and economic downturn. So like I feel like people are overwhelmed by other stuff.
Okay.
We, as a society, feel like there needs to be more effort put into this aspect. Like, I don't know, like volunteers, more social workers.
Yeah.
In general, like they're just for example, in workspace, maybe we can put more effort from like company perspective to like allow employees to spend more time
talking
like,
to somebody who can help them out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
rather than making people feel like they're just a tool.
No, it's true, and especially like on my job. So I'm a manager somewhere, and one of the young ladies shared some information with me, and I was like, man, I feel like she needs to talk to somebody. And I told her, I was like, hey, so I gave her some services that we have, and I'm like, hey, I think we should go talk to somebody about this because there's only so much I can do as a manager. There's not a lot I can do in terms of like, I don't know how to navigate that type of stuff. So I'm like, you should go talk to somebody who can help you out with that. Learn how to like regulate your emotions and things like that. So I definitely, like you said, for jobs, it's definitely something I think that's important. Absolutely.
Yeah.
In terms of you, is there anything that you do, or maybe a hobby that you have that other people might find to be weird? Like something that you do that you like to do that other people may say like it's kind of weird. Maybe a way you eat your food or something like that.
Not really.
Okay.
Maybe I'm too conservative.
So are you somebody who tends to stay to like more of the norms, like things that are more normal? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't think of things as normal or abnormal. Like I just
have things that you're comfortable
stuff.
with. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. All right. In terms of social media, right? First of all, what are your thoughts about social media, and then how do you use it yourself?
I'm not very active on social media.
Yeah.
I feel like it takes too much of my time which I could spend on something more meaningful. Not
makes
that
sense.
social media is not meaningful, but a lot of time you're just browsing and looking
Yeah.
through the feeds.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's like I could be doing something else with my time, right?
yeah, and most of the time, like after a while, you feel like the real people that are important to you are usually the people. They're not necessarily on social media.
Okay.
The people that interact with you on social media are not
Yeah.
necessarily your real friends.
Yeah,
in
you're talking
real
about your
life.
close friends. They tend to you're gonna talk to them every day.
Yeah.
You're gonna be
Yeah.
around them.
Or
Yeah.
weekly
Absolutely,
basis.
absolutely. In terms of social media, right? Let's say somebody came to you and said, "Change whatever you like about it." Right? They gave you the power to do that. Is there anything you would change?
Change for what?
No, I'm just saying in general. Like, so it could be something for the better, maybe improvements, something that you saw that.
Well, only if I were to commercialize it. But
Okay.
currently, it's just my personal space. I don't see why other people want me to change my personal space.
Oh,
There's
well,
no
I'm
point.
just using that as an example. Like saying
Uh-huh.
somebody came to you and said, "Change whatever you like about social media in general," just as a whole.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
What I would like to change?
I've gotten some very interesting answers. Would you like to hear some of the answers I've gotten?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I did have one lady who told me that she would like for there to be like almost like a CDC warning, like not CDC warning, but like a Surgeon General warning. You know how like they put different stuff on like different items and say like warning, this is this. She would like that to be on pictures, like so that like when somebody like filters it or like makes changes to it, people will know like, okay, this picture has been altered, so that they don't think that that's like the real version of what it looks like. This is something that's like been changed. I had somebody else tell me that they would change like, I guess like security settings, because sometimes like there are kids on there and like sometimes adults can contact kids and things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I noticed recently because I'm originally from China, so I know
Okay.
like what's happening on the Chinese media,
Okay.
social media site, which they implemented a huge change to basically reveal everybody's real location rather than some of the Instagram celebrities,
Yeah.
they pretend to be somewhere
Oh
that
yeah,
they're
they can
not.
say they're in Los
Yeah.
Angeles, but
Yeah.
they're really
They're actually in the studio just do the photo shoot. So that reveals a lot of like fake celebrities.
Wow, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah,
like
they
that.
started implementing that, and all of a sudden, like, there's a lot of fake accounts. They just
Oh
lost a
wow,
lot
I
of
love
fans,
that. That's a good
followers.
one. That's a good one.
Although it's kind of like there could be privacy issues, but then
Yeah.
I feel like in general, if the location is like pretty vague,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
should be safe.
that makes sense.
I feel like that would just give us more, like, make the social space cleaner.
Okay.
That you get less fake account or
Yeah.
like people trying to be who they're not.
Yeah. That's so true, so true. In terms of these are questions more about you. Has anyone ever made you feel insecure about your body or a body part before? Anybody ever made you feel like that?
Yeah, before when I
Okay.
was younger.
Okay. So you said when you were younger, so you don't tend to deal with that now. You kind of like
Yeah.
surpass that now.
Yeah.
What are some things you did to like overcome it? Like, what did you do to like make sure you didn't feel like that anymore?
What did I do? It's just through aging that I do my daily exercise. It's probably like related to some bad situations I went through when I was like trying on like extreme measures to lose weight.
Oh, okay.
And then you realize the health is the most important, and no matter how you want to like change your body type or something like that, in the end, like there's no perfect image, like even after,
So true.
because you can see like some Hollywood celebrities that try to commit suicide, which I
Man.
totally don't understand. I'm like, you're already so perfect, why are you trying to kill yourself?
Because like happiness doesn't like equal like what you look like.
Yeah,
Sometimes
it's
like
from within.
exactly. It's like really like a more focus on that. So yeah, absolutely. In terms of anxiety, is there anything that brings you anxiety? Like, and you don't have to go too deep, just maybe more surface level things like.
Anxiety, maybe like probably relationships,
Okay.
insecurities from relationships.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah, for me, it's crowds. Like huge. So yeah, like I'm good with like maybe like 25 to 30 people like in a tight space. But when that number starts to grow and like get to like 70, 80 people, like I'm no like in those type of yeah. I need to be in. I can be in an area like if I go to a mall, it's more spread out, or go to the beach, it's more spread out. But I can't be in a closed space with a bunch of people. Like it's very creates a lot of anxiety for me. Absolutely.
Interesting.
So let's get into these questions now. Can be intrigued to see how you feel about it. What are your thoughts about your feet? How do you feel about your feet?
I have no.
No,
Well, I feel like they're not slim enough.
They're not slim enough.
They're too chunky.
Really? Okay. First of all, what size do you wear?
6'1".
Oh, okay, so they're small, but you think that they're kind of
Like
wide?
too wide, yeah.
Really? Okay. So you don't really like them, or you like them, or you
I don't like them.
you don't like them?
I don't like them, but then
Oh.
it's my feet. I have like it's similar to what I said earlier.
Yeah.
It's just my body. I
So
got
you have
past
your own
that
insecurities. That's like an insecurity of yours. Is it an insecurity?
before, but now I
Before.
don't mind.
So now you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I wanted to get to. So, has anybody ever complimented you on your feet before? Anybody ever said you have nice feet?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
If you got a compliment about that, how would it make you feel? Somebody said, "Hey, you have really nice feet." How would that make you
I
feel?
would think that person is a pervert.
So why is that? Hold
Because
on.
nobody compliment on one's feet.
Okay. So I want to challenge you about something, right? So let's say somebody came to you and they complimented you on your hair, your eyes, your hands. Is that different?
Interesting. Yeah, that wouldn't sound weird.
That wouldn't sound. No, why is that though? Because
Interesting. Yeah.
they're
I
still
never
pointing
thought
out something
that.
about you, right? They're saying, and there's people who are into hair, there's people who are into hands and things like that. So if somebody complimented you on that, it would feel different, feel more normal,
Yeah.
as opposed to somebody complimenting you on your feet.
It could be. It's just something that's hidden, or that's
Okay.
something. Well, especially in Asian culture, I think
Okay.
feet is considered like kind of like related to sex
Really?
because it's hidden most of the time. Like
Interesting.
we wear long dresses in the
Okay.
Asian times. Like we hide other parts except for your face or something.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So that's something that's like usually hidden. So like when you do show it, it's considered to be something that's like
A little
sexual.
bit sexual. I think.
Interesting. That's it. I didn't know that. That's actually pretty interesting. So you've never experienced people giving you compliments, and if you did, you would think that that person was perverted. But not. So let me ask you this though, because that's a good thing that you said that. Is it because of like your cultural background? So because you think of it as something sexual, you would think that like
Although
this
I
person
don't
is.
think that intentionally, but
Yeah.
then it's just in my subconscious.
It's
I
embedded.
think.
It's
Yeah.
embedded in there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's interesting. Yeah, because
Because right now I'm in the USA and I wear like flops all the time, but I just never.
let
thought about
me ask you this though. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you this. Let's say if a woman complimented you about that, right? Would you feel the same way? Would you
No.
feel like she's perverted?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
That's totally fine. Interesting. Okay. You know that there's some women who are kind of into that type of thing, right?
Maybe.
Interesting. Okay. Now you're very interesting. I love this interview so far. In terms of like if you were dating somebody or going to start dating someone, what is something you would consider to be a potential deal breaker? Something you're like, that's not something I'm going to deal with.
Nothing to do with feet, for
Nothing.
sure.
Oh, so somebody's. Oh, wow, really? So
Deal breaker would be like smoking.
don't smoking. Okay.
Yeah, things like that.
Okay, got it.
Uh-huh.
I thought you were saying no. If they like feet, then no, absolutely not. Okay, because what if they like yours? You said that you have chunky feet, but what if they liked yours and they were like they thought that they were nice and cute?
If you guys get intimate, then it doesn't matter, right?
Okay, yeah. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Absolutely. In terms of pedicures, how often do you get?
No,
You've
not
never-
very often.
Not very often.
Not
Are we
very
talking once or twice a year?
Possibly.
Possibly. Okay.
Possibly once a year or less than that.
Really? Okay. Is that more just because of a choice? Like you don't find that to be something important, so you don't tend to like go that route?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. And also because of some sports I do, they're
Okay.
just not very friendly to my
Oh,
nails.
so it would kind of be a waste of time
Yeah,
to kind of get it.
totally.
That makes sense. Yeah. Have you ever heard of a medical pedicure before?
Not really.
Not really. Okay, so medical pedicure is when you go see a podiatrist, specialist of the foot. They take a look at your feet. They make sure like your toe alignment is right. They check your toenails to make sure they're growing correctly. They check for like dead skin, fungus, and they do all the work there with like medical grade equipment. What would your thoughts be on like seeing somebody like that as opposed to like cosmetic ones?
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
I think.
Because they give you more insight into like what's going on with your feet. Like if you have problems or sometimes people have dry feet and they don't know like proper lotions to use, so they can tell you what to do. Like kind of like going to the dentist basically, but for your feet.
Yeah. Trying to imagine the case.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
It may be a good one because like you said, you do a lot of sports and stuff like that, so maybe going to somebody like that, letting them take a look and just like being able to check on that for you. Yeah, absolutely.
Feet health is important. I soak my feet almost a couple of times a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Epsom salt?
Yeah.
To like help the swelling and stuff go down? That's good. That's good. How often do you go with like open toe shoes, sandals, flip flops? Because you said you're in California now, you're in US, so how often do you do that?
Almost every day.
Almost every day? What is that like kind of like your favorite type of shoe, or do you have a favorite type of shoe?
Yeah, I think that's the shoe that I wear the most.
Okay.
Except for the time when I have to wear the tennis shoes.
Yeah, well, especially when you're playing tennis, you can't wear open toe shoes out here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How often do you go barefoot, no shoes?
No, not very often.
Not very often. Okay. Have you ever heard of earthing and grounding before?
No.
Okay, so that's like when you go barefoot in grass, dirt, sand. It's like sometimes people do it for meditation reasons to like unclog mental space to help them like you know be able to relax and kind of do that. Is that something that you've tried before, or?
Well, sometimes I walk on the beach.
Okay.
But then the thing is, for those public places, I am afraid of random stuff like needles.
Oh well, yeah. I think especially depending on what type of beach you're at, which beach you're at. Some beaches tend to be like way more cleaner than others. So
because like beaches and grasses, you can't see what's underneath it. So if there's a space that I'm sure is very clean, then I will definitely walk.
That's interesting.
Walk on it barefoot.
Okay. All right. So now, can we see what your feet look like?
I need to take off my shoes. That's a lot of work.
Oh, okay. So, let me get. So you said it's a lot of work. Let me tell you a little bit about the mental health of like why I kind of got into this. Okay, so that way you kind of understand like why I'm doing this. So, have you ever heard of exposure therapy before?
No.
Okay, so exposure therapy is for people who tend to be like overthinkers, right? Let's say, for example, like you're in a situation where maybe you're afraid of approaching strangers. That's something that you have a fear of, right? Therapists would tell you to go out and approach strangers, right? They want you to get used to how the feeling feels when you're uncomfortable, right? And when you're in those moments you feel uncomfortable, they want you to like stop and like ask yourself, okay, is anything happening to me right now? Is there anything that's like threatening my life, anything threatening my safety? And usually you'll find like some of the things that you think about like happening aren't really happening. It's just your mind creating things so that you don't go through with it, right? So basically, like therapists try to create this so that people can learn to live their life to the fullest, right? Don't ask questions about like, don't worry about like what happened before or what's gonna happen in the future. Just like follow through with it and see what happens, right? So when I heard about this, I was like, man, that's a pretty dope concept. Because like in the past, I'm somebody like who would overthink everything. Like I don't care what it is. Like approaching a pretty girl and like asking her out, I'm like, oh, she might have a boyfriend. She might say no. She might, freak out or something like that. You never know, right? And so I'm like, let me take this. Let me go out and attach that to the feet because a lot of people feel uncomfortable about feet. They like think it's a taboo. They think that it's weird. They think that it's all these different things, right? And go out, approach women, interview them, see what their thoughts would be. Can they be comfortable during the interview? Can they go through with the interview without like thinking about anything negative happening or anything like that? And see what type of reactions I get. So I've been doing this now for a year. I have 11,000 subscribers. I think I'm at video 152 tomorrow. So I've done 152 interviews. And yeah, the whole process is just going out and constantly doing this to see what type of reactions I get and to like record those different reactions and like put them up so that different people can see it, so that if that's something that they're interested in, they can learn to like communicate that to people and not feel like they're going to be shamed by it. Somebody's going to look at them as being weird or anything like that. So I'm trying to normalize the conversation around that. What are your thoughts about that? Kind of like what I'm trying to do. Normalizing the conversation around something that people find to be weird.
I find it interesting and like gives people a different perspective to view things for sure. Because a lot of times we're constrained in our own thoughts. Sometimes
we get caught up and then we're like, sometimes we think about not wanting to do things because we feel like if I do that, then I'm going to feel uncomfortable. But like, is there anything bad going to happen because you're uncomfortable? Sometimes we need to be uncomfortable so that we can like have a breakthrough through something. So that's kind of why I do it.
Yeah.
So in this moment, can we get you to see? Can we see what your feet look like? Is that something we can do?
Well, what is that for though?
So this is like part of the exercise to see can you be comfortable during the interview, like not worrying about what's going to happen, anything like that. Just can you be comfortable in the interview?
Yeah, I can't. It's just I still want to play my dentist later.
Oh, okay. But so what's the worst that's gonna happen? Because you can still put your shoes back on afterwards. Like there's nothing gonna happen like that. So like, is it possible to like get you to go through with that, or
is that something you're going to show like on the internet?
I show the entire thing on my YouTube channel. I'll share my YouTube channel with you so you can see it. Yeah.
That is going to be weird.
But why is it weird though? Because like it's something, I know it's not something that's ever happened to you before. So of course like you don't have a reference point for it. So you're like that's something that's gonna be weird. But why is it weird though?
Showing other people my feet.
What's the worst that's gonna happen from that? Like
nothing.
Most of the people not even gonna know who you are or anything like that. So
true. Okay, I'll just take off my shoes then.
All right, there it is.
Can I just take off one shoe?
What we like to usually see both because sometimes people have like one foot's bigger, one foot smaller, so we like to see like the comparison. Is that okay?
Oh my god.
All right.
This is weird.
She's like the whole time she's saying this is weird.
I can just pretend that I didn't wear shoes today.
All right, so let me get you to put them down flat like that. All right, and you said you were a 6.5, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I can see that your toes go from biggest to smallest, right?
Yeah.
So you know what that's called?
No.
They have different toe alignments that they're called. This is the Egyptian. So when it goes from biggest to smallest, Egyptian toe alignment. If your second toe is bigger, it would be the Grecian toe alignment, which is like the Greek toe. So that's what you would have, but you have the Egyptian toe alignment. Cool. All right, let me get you to extend your feet like this and put them straight.
Like what?
Like straight.
This?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, straight. There you go, and then toes up like this. All right. All right, so you're a little bit like uncomfortable at first. How are you feeling right now?
Weird.
Thoughts? You feeling weird? Okay. So you said you're feeling weird. Why are you feeling weird? Is it because this is like uncommon? Like this has never happened before? Is that more of the reason?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. So like, but you went outside of your comfort zone. Did anything happen? Did
No.
any lightning come down? Anything happen? Nothing bad happened, right? All right. So let me get you to leave your feet out. We're gonna go through a couple more exercises, okay?
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about reflexology. Okay, and then I'll let you get back to tennis. All right. So reflexology is about the different pressure points you actually have in your hands and in your feet, right? Those pressure points actually connect to different parts of your body, right? So, for example, let's say through massage, through acupuncture, through acupressure, you can alleviate like stress and tension to various parts of your body, right? Have you ever heard of that before? Is that something that sounds familiar now?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So like if you have migraines, there's a portion of your foot that you can like apply pressure to a massage that will like alleviate the tension you feel in those moments. There's actually a piercing you can get too that's right in the ear. It does the exact same thing. What are your thoughts about that? Like being able to like deal with different stress and tensions that you may have in your body just by massaging and applying pressure?
That's traditional like medicine in China.
It is, I know. That's where I learned it from. So I'm a kinesiology. I've taken kinesiology, and so learning about reflexology was something that was like really important for me. Learning about how different muscles move, how different areas like this area can like affect this area. So that was like really interesting to me. So yeah, learning about like how it's an Eastern culture like type thing is definitely dope. What are your thoughts about it though? Like the whole process, is it like something that you think is good, bad, or you agree with it? You disagree with it?
I agree with it.
You agree with it? Okay, all right. I mean, I know you're from China, so I know that that's something that you're like, I believe in it. Of course, I'm not from there. But I get some people who are like, I don't know if it's real. I don't know if that's something that's true. So, like, that's why I always ask. All right. So, with that being said, we're in reflexology. We usually talk about sensitivity, right? How ticklish do you tend to be?
On the scale,
1 to 10.
1 to 10, maybe like 9.
A 9?
8.
So when you get pedicures, are you really ticklish?
I don't usually do that. So,
Okay. But I'm saying when you have gone and got pedicures, are you really ticklish? Like when they...
Maybe a little bit. Maybe
Okay.
7. Yeah.
Got it. I do have a trick for you that could be helpful. Do you mind if you test it? Is that okay?
Not really.
Not really. I like how you always pause it. Not really. Or so I'm guessing because I'm a stranger, you probably don't feel comfortable with like that's completely okay. I understand. Let me get you to do a couple exercises with your feet. And this is to test like dexterity and flexibility. Okay. Let me get you to put your feet out straight again. Like point them more this way. All right. First of all, let me get you to bend your toes, make a fist. Tell me if you feel pain or discomfort while you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Bend them and hold them. Is that easy to do? Hard to do?
Easy.
Easy. Relax. Spread your toes. Tell me if you feel pain or discomfort. Easy, hard.
My toes.
Is that hard?
Hard.
It's hard to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you feel any pain or anything?
No.
Okay, relax. And just wiggle your toes for 10 seconds. Tell me if you feel pain or discomfort when you're doing it.
No.
Easy, no cramping, nothing?
No.
Okay. Now, I do have a trick for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, when you go get pedicures, if you are really ticklish, what you do is wiggle your toes just like you're doing right now, right? What happens is, first of all, your mind is actively thinking about doing something else. But number 2, because your muscles are moving, it can't pick up on the sensation of that. So that's a trick for you. If you're ever ticklish, like during those moments, go ahead and do that, okay?
Okay.
All right. So let's wrap up the interview now. In terms of my approach, when I came up to you, I asked you to do the interview. Was it good? Was it bad? What were your thoughts about my approach?
I think it was good.
It was good?
Like, you introduced yourself, told me about the topics.
So not too bad. Good. Love it. Love it. In terms of the interview, right, start to finish, did you see how everything was going in a line? Did it make sense? Did you learn anything new from the information?
Yeah. I definitely feel like the topics, they're not so connected.
Okay.
Because the mental health doesn't have anything to do with feet.
Yeah, so if you notice some of the questions I asked, right? So I asked you a question about, like, is there anything that you like that other people might find to be weird? You said you didn't have anything for that, right? Sometimes I get interesting answers. Like, I've had one person tell me that they put mustard on their pizza, right?
Oh.
That's something that other people may look at as like, oh, that's kind of odd, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the whole point is if it's something that you like, others may feel that way, but it's something that you appreciate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I told you, I'm trying to normalize the conversation around feet. Some people find that to be weird, right? So I ask all these different questions that have to do with like different things that are going on to see if you can be comfortable and see what your thought process is.
Oh yeah.
That makes sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. In terms of the interview, right? I'd like you to, like, if you can for me, the last thing I'll ask, something that you've learned, like, in life, right? Maybe a mental, like, that's how I have the mental health, like, basis. A life lesson you learned, wise words that somebody once said to you that you can share on my channel. It could be about anything that you know. Just a message to people to help people out.
Anything?
Yeah, anything.
Oh, I just one thing came to my mind. It's never too late to learn new stuff or to start new.
I like that. And like you said, you picked up tennis.
Yeah, half a year
ago, and like this
and
is
a
something
lot
that
of things I didn't do until like I started surfing, snowboarding after I turned 30.
Okay.
So it's considered pretty late, but I find it really interesting to try new things.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's something that you enjoy and something that you like to do, like you should definitely you're stepping out of your comfort zone because you're learning all these new things and like learning about life and enjoying life till its fullest, right? Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Definitely appreciate you stopping to do this thing. I know it wasn't easy. You're out here playing tennis and everything like that, but I definitely appreciate you, and we hope that you have a great one, okay?
You too.
All right.